Morning, YouTube. Monday morning commute. Smoking the Friday Savinelli. In it is not Haunted Bookshop. In it is a vanilla latte by Cobblestone, just one I picked up. It's got burley in it, so grabbed this because I wanted to do a VR to a Matches 860 video. So this time of year, I always think about Matches. Good friend of the community, right? Just a heck of a good guy. And you know, this is the time of year, unfortunately, here in the next week or so, that we lost him, you know, 3 years ago. So I like to go back and reflect on his videos at certain times of the year. And I came across one I hadn't seen before, and it was on managing stress. And I thought he did a heck of a good job with this video. So I kind of wanted to do my take on it and a VR to anybody that maybe has watched that video, kind of connect them. If you've watched the channel, this channel, you don't know, stress and anxiety were something that has been a challenge. So especially the last couple of years with the, you know, since post-COVID and the way the logistics industry is, you know, whatever it's doing. Anyhow, you know, in watching Match's video, you know, his okay, four-way stop. Go ahead, dude. You weren't going to wait for me anyway, so whatever, lady. Anyhow, sorry about that. You know, his thought was a lot of stress is self-induced. Self-generated is what he called it. And, you know, I would have to wholeheartedly agree as I reflect on just things that I stress about. It is a lot of self-induced stuff. Pressures that we put on ourselves. Sometimes warranted, maybe sometimes not warranted. Probably most of the time not warranted. And our body is built to handle stress on a short-term basis. A little bit of stress isn't a bad thing. Our body triggers that flight or fight mechanism, right? And that was so important to our survival as a race, or I guess we'll call it the human race. When there were things out there that could eat us, right? And you know, it would trigger fight or flight. And it still does to this day. Our bodies are still conditioned and wired that way. To fight or flight. And I'm looking at my notes as I drive, apologize, but you know, Match's contention was that since we may not, you know, these are my words right here, we may not have the need as much for fight or flight in our everyday lives as the race once did, as the human race once did. We've replaced that with smaller issues. We've replaced our stress with smaller issues. Again, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. And I can say for sure that is something I have done. And I think if we're all honest, we probably all have done that. So I agree with Match's point here. Short-term stress is okay. And it is. A little bit of stress is not bad. It's healthy. But carrying it forward, you know, is an issue. If we continue to carry that stress forward, that most certainly is an issue. You know, mainly because, again, our body's not designed for long-term stress. It's really fight or flight, short-term, get out of danger, reevaluate, and get the stress off of us. So carrying stuff forward is really not healthy for us, right? Especially when we and do this to ourselves through self-induced stress. One takeaway that Matt just shared, and I agree wholeheartedly, because this is where the video really started speaking to me. He stated that he approached the stress in his life with a negative attitude. And oh boy, let me tell you, old Buckeye's done the same thing. Very negative attitude towards stress, to the point where I stress about stress. And that may sound silly to some of you, but it's true. I've gotten to that point at times where I stress about stress. This morning was a prime example. What do? We got to quit carrying it forward. Match's contention was, we manage stress by how we approach the problem. He suggested we consider what we're stressing about as a challenge and not as a negative. So how do we, and I'm going to try to use this advice because I think it's really good advice. If we're stressed about something, whether it be work, home, finances, how do we view it as a challenge? How do we view it as a challenge to better ourselves and get out of it? Maybe that stress is credit card debt. Well, how do we challenge? How do we make that a challenge to get out of it instead of looking at it as a negative all the time? And I think that's one thing I'm really going to try to hammer down on as I move forward is, okay, stress, work stress, you're just a challenge today. I'm not going to carry you with me all day, but let's figure out a way to handle you and deal with you and get you out of there, right? I thought that was just a home run advice when Matt just said that. I just thought it was fantastic. One thing I'll share with you guys, and I need to get back to it. Matt has alluded a little bit to it, but not quite at the level I'm going to talk about it, and that's journaling. You ever take the time to write your thoughts down?
In half a mile, turn right on North Carolina 581.
That's a very healthy way to get thoughts out of your head and on paper. And if you're going to view it as a challenge, even maybe game plan, maybe bullet point out how you're going to attack it and meet the challenge head on. But that's something that I would share that has worked for me. In his video, Matt just talks about
turn right on North Carolina 581.
What has helped him is he makes he would make basically a list of all the things, like I used to call them punch list or whatever, but a checklist, I guess, whatever you want to call it, of all the things that he could do to solve the problem. And it helped him
in 1.9 miles
when he was dealing
turn
with
left
stress.
on East Nash Street.
And certainly you could incorporate that with journaling. I don't see a reason why you couldn't. It makes a lot of sense. The one thing he really drove home is that, if he didn't get the list completed, what's the worst thing that could happen? If you make a list of how you're going to handle a situation that's stressful to you, and you don't get it done, or you don't get it corrected, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? Well, nobody's going to come and kidnap you or take you away or kill you. I mean, if it's job related, the absolutely worst thing they could do is fire you. There's millions of jobs out there. Is that the end of the world? Probably not. Same thing with finances. If somebody gets way in over their head, the worst thing you could do is repossess your car. It's not going to kill you. It's not ideal. I wouldn't suggest it, but it's not you're still going to be alive. You're still going to be out there and be able to turn things around. So I really like that thought about looking at things from the perspective of what is the worst thing that could happen if I don't get these points done to take care of this issue that's stressing. What is the worst thing that can happen? I think that's a fantastic perspective to look at it from.
Approaching a railroad crossing.
Sorry for the commentary, but from the GPS. What's the worst thing that could happen? I love it. So I really liked in his video that Matches laid out kind of a three-step, I'm calling it a three-step process, is what I took away from the video, right? Approaching a challenge, try to make it fun.
In 1,000 feet.
Find a solution to it while you're making it fun. Look at different points of views, and he encouraged folks to maybe look at YouTube or another news source or something out there that could maybe has a differentiating point of view that may help you. And I thought that man, that's pretty good. I could use that. So I'm gonna put that in the toolbox as well. There's a lot of nuggets in this video. So if stress is something that you've struggled with or have, and we all do to some extent or another, I can go back and watch this. So
turn left on East Nash Street.
Step one, or point one, that Matches made.
Approaching a railroad crossing.
All right, shut up, lady. Have a positive attitude, right? You want to have a positive attitude in anything that you're going to tackle or handle. And I will tell you from firsthand experience, if you're under stress.
For 6 minutes to North Carolina 98.
I'm going to punch this lady, I swear. She's stressing me out. Just kidding. But if you're under stress, probably one of the worst things you could do is just be negative and nasty and for lack of a better term, pissed off about it. And that's where I just get pissed. And then I start stressing about that. And it's not healthy. So have a positive attitude. So that is a great first step. Slowly enter the problem versus trying to fix it on the fly. And oh boy, this one spoke to me too. All right, dude, you can turn. A lot of times when we're under stress, get a little horn for you because you're an idiot. Look at me stressing out on the drive. Holy cow, not listening to Matches' teachings. But slowly enter the problem. Don't try to fix everything on the fly. And what I take away from this is take time to think about it, ponder it, write it down. Now, some things that are stressful, you kind of have to fix on the fly. I get it. If something blows up at work, you're gonna have to do something potentially quickly. If your house catches fire, you're not gonna have time to sit and think about it. That's stressful. You've got to act quickly. And I don't think that at all is what Matches was alluding to when he said go into the problem slowly. I think he was alluding to regular stress that we put on ourselves that a lot of times again is self-induced. So enter the issue slowly. Positive attitude, enter the issue slowly. Don't try to fix it immediately. Spend some time to think about it. Think about what you're going to do. Step 3, and this one is huge. Sleep well. Get your rest. Matches' take was set issues aside. You can't solve them at night. So, and to quote him, sleep should be your own time. Sleep time should be your own time. What's the quote? I struggle with that. I think a lot of us that may or may not have stress probably do struggle with that because the mind won't shut off. It keeps thinking, it keeps thinking, it keeps thinking. Or the worst that happens to me is it's 2 or 3 in the morning and boom, my mind turns on with 3 or 4 thoughts about potentially work or something, and I'm awake like that. and then it takes a half hour, 45 minutes, or an hour to get back to sleep. So set that aside, because I can't, you can't, nobody can fix that stress at night. Use that time and protect that time to get your rest and recharge your body, I guess is the term I will use. Matt just closed his video by saying, share your thoughts on his video, and I would encourage you to share your thoughts on this video. Maybe as a community, we could work towards solving the issues. What may work for, or what may have worked for Matches, may not work for me, may not work for you, but you may have something that works for me, and it's good to talk about it, right? It's really good to talk about it. And use techniques other people may or may not. I think we could also learn from what doesn't work. So not only share what works, but if you've tried something and man, it made the situation worse or no good, was it helpful? I think we can learn from that too, because we learn from mistakes as well as we learn from doing things well. Again, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I will do my best to link the video that Matches put out about stress in the comments. I would encourage you to watch it, especially if you're someone that has stress in their life or deals with stress or may take stress a little too hard, kind of like I do. I'd encourage you to watch it, think about it, talk it over. Do another VR. Keep this thing rolling. Maybe
in half a mile, turn right on North Carolina 98.
Maybe that's what we need to do as a community, work together. In fact, I know it's what we need to do. So how cool is it? I'm going to close this up because this is a pretty long video, but how cool is it that the lessons that Matches imparted in the stories that he told are still available to us today, even though we miss him a lot, right? How cool is it that pieces of him live on?
Turn right on North Carolina 98
through YouTube and through other means, and how cool is it that we can use those pieces in our personal life? I just think that is outstanding.
Continue straight for 7 minutes to West Jewett Avenue.
I just think that's outstanding. So thanks for watching. If you stuck with me this long, hopefully there's some tidbits of information that helped in here. Me talking about it gets it in my mind, so that's going to help me. And like I said, if you want to do a VR, keep this thing rolling. If you want to drop your nuggets of what works below deck, do so, because we're all different. We all handle things a lot different. What may bug somebody may not totally bug anybody else. But take care, everybody. Take time to appreciate the small things, right? Pay it forward. Take care of everybody. Wash your damn hands. And we'll catch you next time. Have a great day.